By now, I'm sure you've all understood quite well that my general view of new Warhammer 40k lore is that it is near universally repugnant, and to be ignored at all costs. But, even so, on occasion, there is a particularly pungent cluster of refuse flowing down the river of disgrace that has become modern-day GW's Warhammer 40,000 to the point where you've just got to kind of stare at it. Like a slow-mo train accident, where you know on an intellectual level that you're about to watch thousands of mangled, probably Indian bodies, be thrown through the air as two unreasonably large pieces of metal, trains, ram into one another at high speed, doing frankly terrible things to a whole host of human bodies. And yet, you've still gotta look at it just a little bit. That is what happened as I browsed through Twitter the other day, as Marius Gage here found something rather interesting. In a quote many of us of course know, "They are my space marines and they shall know no fear" quote. However, a recent version in White Dwarf 515, GW's official propaganda magazine, which I used to love, by the way. I have entire plastic boxes filled with White Dwarf magazines. I think I've got somewhere around 300 copies in total of this, but again, it's followed my opinion on the new lore as well. So, what has changed here? "They shall be my finest warriors, like clay I shall mould them, in the furnace of war forge them." Something's missing there, isn't it? "They shall be my finest warriors, these men who give themselves to me, like clay I shall mould them, and in the furnace of war I shall forge them." So there are several pieces that are apparently missing. Men, muscle, guns, and mankind. As we go on, "They shall be of iron will and steel sinew, rather than steely muscle. In great armour I shall clad them, and with the mightiest guns shall they be armed. I shall clad them, and with the mightiest weapons they will be armed." What? Alrighty then, so for some reason GW has decided to go in and change a fan favourite quote, one damn near as old as the setting I think, and remove men, muscle, and guns. Now if I might take on my conspiracy theories hat here for a moment, because parts of these could potentially be explained through political means, right? Men. We know certain groupings of people who aren't particularly fond of men, or muscles, or masculinity in general, groups that have had a lot of influence over Games Workshop, of course, and will in all due likelihood continue to do so, as also removing men might open the door for female space marines, which I consider female space marines to be something that has already happened at this point, okay? I consider it to be an absolute ironclad certainty, and I have resigned myself to that fact of simply carving out of that as large of a cudgel as I conceivably can with which to beat GW over the head with when it inevitably does happen. Listen. When it does, and it's probably going to be in the next 2 years, I'd probably say, feel free to just send me every single video on it you find, and I'll respond to every fucking one of them with whatever nonsensical garbage the GW dreams up and then informs their paid drones that they should regurgitate. Incidentally as well, one of the reasons why I view this as virtually an absolute certainty is that just recently with the Tom Mendelsohn drama, for example, we were shown one of the primary sources of the politicization of Warhammer 40,000. We were given a named individual, a clear target, who had committed a violent faux pas at the time that we could then get rid of. One of the people who was directly responsible for politicizing 40k from the inside out. This was a golden opportunity to actually remove at least a solid piece of the cancer right out of the body, and yet, besides myself and a handful of smaller channels, nobody covered it. Probably the single largest piece of GW drama this entire year. Nobody talked about it. None of the lore channels, not even any of the channels who just cover GW directly did. Either GW's paycheck goes a lot longer than any of us had thought, or the majority of these people literally just don't give a fuck about 40k anymore, and don't care at all if it is being actively poisoned from within by a person we know, can name, and can fucking point to. But that is a separate issue, which I will be making a larger video on in the fairly near future, as I really do think it's about time to take a shot at the Warhammer 40,000 community in general. But, okay. So, men, muscles, etc. Definitely things that the feminists might want out, but there is another grouping as well. You may remember a couple of weeks ago, Amazon, for some weird and hitherto unknown reason, decided, hey, you know that James Bond guy, the British spy, the guy famous for having a certain gun that it begins every movie by like walking out and then pew, shooting the screen? Say at the microphone. You know that guy? What if we removed his gun? And then they did. To significant internet backlash, surprisingly. Well, again, I can understand muscles, but guns? Why can't... There's a bolt gun right there. It's in front of a space marine holding a chain axe with a rear splash screen of the horror's fucking heresy. What do you mean you removed gun from 40k? Are you sure, Games Workshop, that you would like to remove the word gun from your vocabulary? As I feel like that might have some negative consequences on your setting overall, but then again, we're talking about the corporation that was also willing to denounce its most popular factions, Space Marines and the Imperium, for being xenophobic. In a universe where the vast majority of alien species wish to brutally murder you and suck your soul out through your asshole, but details. So, right now, I believe, this is again my conspiracy theory, which I waffled off on from like 5 minutes ago, that Amazon is currently receiving many sumptuous blowjobs from the entire staff of Games Workshop in order that Amazon will buy GW. But Amazon is rather trigger shy, because their last guaranteed success, the Rings of Power, didn't really work out all that well, so they're a little bit gun-shy about getting on another guaranteed success. And so GW is bending over backwards to appease and fondle the balls of their new corporate overlords. And one of those things would be, like Amazon removing James Bond's gun, removing the word gun from some of their more popular sayings, particularly one about the Space Marines, a famous one that might be used as, oh, I don't know, a splash screen for a Space Marine TV show? Maybe featuring a certain Henry Cavill, who knows? Just saying. It seems like something Amazon might do that would make a lot of sense. Well, actually, no, I take that back. It makes fucking zero sense to try and remove the word gun from 40k or James Bond. It makes no sense to remove the word gun in general. It's not even for political reasons. I mean, God, the left has many hold-ups, and I'm sure one of them is guns, but pretty far down the line in general. So this is in all due likelihood one of those corporate boardroom decisions that literally make no sense whatsoever to anyone who wasn't in the room at the time, and capable of imbibing the same quantity of cocaine as an Amazon executive that greenlit the Rings of Power is. And believe you me, that is a prodigious fucking quantity. But I think that's what happened here, as it is yet another step on the road of the sterilization of Games Workshop and Warhammer 40,000 in general, to slowly but surely grind it down into the bland, uninteresting paste that the wider audience believes they want from Warhammer 40,000. Before, GW and 40k follows the same trajectory as every other popular franchise, finally being ground down enough to the point where it reaches maximum broad appeal, only for the normies to pick it up and go, "This is boring. Why is this popular anyways? Oh hey, look at that thing over there," and head on off to the next hot thing. It too is inevitable. It too is something that is all but written in the fucking heavens. But it still hurts just a little bit to see it. Until next time, I have been Arch. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope to see you all again soon. Well then, have a good day.